And always great to talk to our next guest. He's going to be coming back again to Sarasota, coming up on March 18th at the Van Wezel. That'll be an 8 o'clock show, and he'll do it with Catherine Russell, a tribute to Nat King Cole and the Ladies of Song. Of course, talking about John Pizzarelli, who was with us just about a year ago when the CD came out, Salute to Nat King Cole, and we have him for a couple of minutes on the phone today. And John, how you been?
I'm doing pretty well, as best as can be expected.
That's it, I know. Yeah, we'll try not to dwell on that, but I guess you can't get away from it, right? How is it affect? I know you're working up in New York now. Has it affected any of the gigs you're doing? Have you noticed?
Yeah, we've had. I've done the last week and this week at Birdland, right. And we've had some hearty souls in there this week. So we're hoping to get through the weekend and hoping to get down to Sarasota too, because it's my 40th anniversary of the first time I was there with the Sarasota Jazz Club with my father. So it's sort of a great anniversary.
Well, jazz is an antidote, I hear, for anything. So it's good for everybody to hear it.
We can only hope. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, 40 years ago. I know we talked last time you were on the Nat Cole CD that you were planning on coming down. I'm glad you were able to work out the gig at Van Wezel. You had a 40th anniversary, and you were the first one of the first people that came down. I guess that club, from what I understand, I wasn't here 40 years ago, but it started as a kind of a record listening club, and then it became more of a performers came down, and you were the first show, right?
Yeah, my father and I went down there and spent a day with Hal and Evelyn Davis, and we played a concert that night, and that was the first one where he said we should get together and have a club, and so 40 years later, it's still going strong. I was down a number of years. I've had some really memorable moments playing down there. It's always great to play in Van Wezel too. It's such a perfect setting, and it's a lovely part of the country. So it's always a treat to make my way down there, especially when it's so cold up here.
That's right, yeah. And Sarasota, when I came down in the early 90s, I would go to the shows, and it really has become, or was, a great hotbed for a lot of the jazz artists that moved down here. Bobby Haggart lived here for a long time, and Bobby Rosengarten, and a lot of guys would come in that you knew from television. I know Tommy Newsom came in a lot, so it had that kind of feel back then.
Dick Hyman's down there. Walt Levinsky was down there, and a lot of great guys made their way there. So it also made for, and the other part about what Hal did too is that it wasn't just those guys too. He had a lot of younger, up and coming guys. He even had me by myself. I played with John Allred a number of, that's got to be about 30 years ago too. So I mean, it's really been a fun time I've had down there, especially too with Bob Haggart. I used to talk to Bob a lot too, and Bob loved to play golf and come up here. So a lot of great memories with all the musicians who were down there at one time or another.
I saw again one of the early times I was at the festival. They had a bill with 5 or 6 different acts on it, and in the middle was thrown in Diana Krall. So you saw some real big stars, and she, people knew her. You had to kind of be a jazz fan to know her at that point. But boy, she became a huge star after that.
Yeah, it really is amazing, along the way where everybody landed, and now, I'll be 60 years old on April 6th. It's amazing to look back at it and see where all the different records and all the music we've made over the years, and how all those other guys led the way for us too. So now we're Diane and I are sort of in that part of generation. I think my father, in 1980. He was still in his early 50s, so it's amazing, how it all turned out.
I'm coming up a little bit behind you there, not too far away, so we're hitting that number, aren't we?
That's right. It's not a bad number. It's okay by me.
No, you're a youthful 60, or we will be. I've seen you.
That's right, with any luck.
That's right. And your dad, God bless him, Bucky Pizzarelli, for those who don't know, I believe he's 94, right? 95, didn't he just have a birthday?
94, yes, he is. And, he's still with us, and that's... It beats the alternative.
That's right. And Bucky came down here many years, too, with other shows. I've seen him over the years. So he
sure. Many times. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that venue is so fantastic. Whether it was for something for the club or I know he did a number of concerts with Stefan Grappelli and a lot of different acts over the years, too. So we always ended up, and even I know my father and I and Jessica, my wife, did a concert down there one year, too, in January. Right. So lots of great events in that great spot.
And of course, you mentioned Dick Hyman. He's on the bill this week, and I believe he just turned 91, 92, I believe. Came off of, and he won't mind me saying, he came off of heart surgery a couple years ago, so he's still going strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It is. Yeah, that's right. And this week is the 40th anniversary. I know that they're all there this week. I know Poplawski and everybody's down there. So it really is. It's a terrific time for jazz in Sarasota.
Ken Poplawski, the director, and working with Dick Hyman tonight. And, of course, John Pizzarelli working up in New York, all over the country. But just want to mention again, you mentioned your wife, Jessica. You do a radio show with her. That's still going pretty well, right?
Yeah, we're in our 15th year, Radio Deluxe. It can be heard all over the country and also on a place called Mixcloud.com. But it is a terrestrial radio show in its true sense. And we play everything from the Great American Songbook and beyond. And it's a wonderful little show, Radio Deluxe.
I like the way it's kind of like old for people in New York. Remember shows like on WOR, Ed and Peckine Fitzgerald, the husband and wife shows on radio. You kind of bring that back a little bit.
Yeah, there was somebody else who used to call it Texan Jinx was another.
That's right,
two
another
people.
one. Right. That was before our time.
So yes, exactly. So it really is. When they turned the mics on the first time, we said, well, from high atop Lexington Avenue and where our apartment was, and people have always enjoyed that idea, and that where we just literally set it up on our dining room table and talk about what's been going on and play great music. So it is a fun program.
Of course, John worked at probably the greatest radio station of all in New York, maybe in the country, at least for playing this type of music, but WNEW, and we have some people down here that have worked there. I know quite well Mike Eisgrau, former newsman there. We always kind of reminisce about it, and of course you were part of that, and people still miss it. I still miss it. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, it's funny when you mention somebody like Mike Eisgrau. I remember all those names. There was Bob Harris, who did the weather too,
sure.
And Ted Brown and William B. Williams and all those people. It really was destination radio. I mean, those in my growing up, in my formal years, I guess, between the mid '60s all the way through to the late '80s. I mean, the radio was always on in the house, and you could hear the sound of Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and all those people, and then those great personalities that brought the radio alive. And I think maybe even that's what Radio Deluxe does in a little way. It brings back that idea of what those guys were doing. It was quite a radio station, 50,000 watts, and one of the last great ones that we have. I think KMOX might be the last one in St. Louis.
Oh, they still play some of that music out there?
No, I think it's the last of the great 50,000
watt 50,000 watts, you're right. Yeah, those are AM radio. Unfortunately, it's going away. But I did want to mention once again the Nat King Cole CD, which came out last spring, and we've been playing it on our show here, and I'm sure that's what you're going to be doing in the show next week, too, right? Van Wezel, a lot of Nat King Cole songs? Yes,
we'll be featuring a lot of our Nat King Cole things, and Catherine Russell will sing a lot of great songs from the women who were featured on Nat Cole's program, and she's just one of the great singers on the planet. She just delivers the ball and is just really worth seeing. It's why in our program, I go first. I do the first 40 minutes, and then she comes out and sings with us, and by the time she's about 10 minutes in, you forgot I was even singing. She's just fantastic.
Well, that'll be great. That'll be 8 o'clock again next week for those in the area. If you're not in the area, come on down to Sarasota. 8 o'clock show at the Van Wezel here in Sarasota. I had to ask you, I found an artist, and I thought you were the only jazz artist that played the guitar and sang. I found one just by accident on YouTube. You might have known him, a guy by the name of Frank Derone. Did you ever hear of him?
Oh, sure. A lot of people have mentioned Frank Derone to me, out of Chicago, a great guy. I only think it's possibly just passed away a couple of years ago. And when I opened for Sinatra in '93 in Aurora, Illinois, Frank, it was at a gambling boat, and after Sinatra sang, he went to hear. Frank Derone was playing also in a small lounge there, and Sinatra made his way to hear Frank. So that was high praise indeed. If Sinatra was going to go out, he was going to make it count, and he went to hear Frank Derone. Frank was a lovely guy. I got to meet him a couple of times, and he was a terrific artist, and made some wonderful little records, too.
Yeah, the reason I'm bringing it up because you're one of the few, if not only, that accompanies yourself in jazz guitar. I mean, that's a unique, and I thought I heard of everybody just from, doing what we do in radio, but I found it by mistake actually watching an old Playboy After Dark show on YouTube. I found it. And he was on that, and he was great. I couldn't believe how good this guy was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's worth your trouble to find the record. Yeah, he was something else.
Yeah, we did a little tribute show, on our program to him. But I just want to bring it up and see if you knew him. But that's great. But well, anyway, John Pizzarelli, you want to see him next week? That's March 18th. And John, I know you're doing 2 shows a night, so we'll save your voice a little bit. But always great to chat with you, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks for playing the records always, and keeping the music alive. And I'll see everybody next week.
Great. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.